medicine is bad magic.
Because they also reject the scientific view of knowledge, they are unable to understand.
You know, to me, that's how targets are. They reject knowledge. So in a sense of a way, it is impossible for them to comprehend me because they reject knowledge. And there's a scripture about that too. You are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. And I mean going to school and going to college and going to Scientology and getting this knowledge and you turn out to be an educated fool or a Scientologist, Church of Scientologist murderer. But you have to, targeted individuals, you have to begin to study the technology and in the word Scientology. All technology deals with Scientology. All technology.
Medical position on anything. But too many of these groups, and again we're talking about Scientology in particular, are not at all capable of approaching doctors effectively, and they're often too late when they do. They have a few captured physicians working with them, and I say with no prejudice.
He said they have a few captive physicians working with them. That was back in 1982. Today, there's only a few who are not captive and working with them.
To them that many chiropractors seem to have gotten in. It is necessary in the case of all of these groups that they isolate these people that they have just brought in.
They not only isolate those of Scientologists, they isolate the assets too. It's kind of funny. Same way they do those that they actually do handle, they handle the assets the same way.
Proselytes isolate them from their families. Because their families remind them too much of the past.
Well, that's not why they isolate our families from us. They don't isolate us from our family. They isolate our family from us. Although we're the ones isolated, but it's our family that doesn't want to have anything to do with us. Due to fucking Scientology. I'm gonna fuck you up.
And they can sometimes break in to the mind.
Bored as fuck. Bored as fuck.
And
Almost about to go to sleep.
I'll just mention the TRs, the bulbating.
It sounded like he said the TIs, but I think he said the TRs.
Which are seen by me as matters of managing the focusing of the mind. There are many ways of doing that. I think that the particular ways that the Church of Scientology does this can be extraordinarily damaging over the long run and over the short run. These are exercises involving two people across the table with the e-meter in the middle, with the face of the e-meter to the auditor, and thus certain kinds of processes, like questions are asked over and over and over again in such a way that it is impossible for the individual to answer them really quite right, depending a little bit on what the auditor wants to get to this person. This is also eye-to-eye contact with the individual who is being brought in must pay absolute attention to the auditor or will have to flunk and go back to the beginning of these rather painful processes. And by the time the individual gets through with this, the mind is already in trouble. And by the time they go through the first auditing courses successfully, they are entirely under control of the auditor. So it will take almost any order.
So now the totally under control. The handler would take, he said, almost any order. They would take any order that's given to them
from that person.
from the handler.
One of the more heavy auditing processes that I have heard of is the one of sitting knee to knee for like 8 hours looking at one another and saying nothing and not blinking, or answering some absurd question over and over and over and over and over.
That's abuse.
Sometimes with bullbaiting, which means that they'll have to answer these questions correctly no matter what else is going on in the room, whether or not there are personal touches, some kind of
personal touches. You hear that? Personal touches. This is when they do your children like this in Scientology. They do the kids like that. I saw a picture of this guy auditing a little boy. The little boy had on white shorts that looked like a pair of drawers. The man had his hand on the boy's leg right up over the knee. Personal touching, that's when they will rape you, but you won't know because you've been put under some form of hypnosis. It will take someone like him to dig that out of your brain.
Laughing, some kinds of nasty statements, sexual approaches.
You see? Sexual approaches.
The person being auditing cannot even begin to show any movement on the e-meter or any in the face. It must be absolutely flat. In other words,
That's also too. So when you go and you're against talking someone, you can't show anything in your face. You know, it's also a thing that actors also can do because they have to play many roles. It's also done so that if someone comes to you and asks you questions about, like, you know, like Nappy here, he does that. Ask you a question about, you know, game stalking him or whatever. They also know how to lie very well too. But they can keep a straight face while they're talking to you. I mean, they learn all kind of shit, and they put them under hypnosis, teach them all this bullshit, then send them out like they are soldiers in an army, and they are.
that person must not respond emotionally to anything.
See?
This kind of treatment of the individual to cut out any response to, for instance, conscience or the outrageous processes that are going on simply empties them of this capacity to act really in a human way. Now, for a while, it's fine.
So you said they're empty.
But often, these people have gone through an enormous amount of pain to get to the point where they think they're beginning to be happier. And in fact, very few of them are happy. They're just reaching for that which they have promised never comes.
Yes, which never comes.
There is much to say about the Church of Scientology that may not sound exactly scientific, but it is nonetheless sort of conclusional. One is that what they do is in general very hurting, often to the detriment of the mind. A number of people have come out of Scientology with no minds at all.
You heard that? They have come out of Scientology with no minds at all, because Scientology has eaten on their brains. And another reason they can come out with no minds at all, because if you have a certain duty, you need to do that shit. If you can't do that shit, they will drop your ass. Drop you fast. It's like you're targeted. You will lose your Section 8, you know, Sharonda Walker did. They will take your boyfriend, and his ass supposed to do jail time anyway. He couldn't do what he's supposed to do. They lock him up for 13 years. I thought 13 years was a funny, you know, the number 13, the melanated. And now it's hard for you. They take your cars away. Now you don't dress in these bright colors and dress all nice. Now your clothes look all dingy. You look like you're homeless. They will do that to you if you do not do what you were supposed to do. And Sharonda Walker, she failed. I have her name in codes a lot of times.
No flow of consciousness. It has taken years to reinstate the mind.
Well, it takes years for them to reinstate their mind. So does that mean they go into a mental institution where they've sent so many others? So I guess with those, what goes around comes around. But I cannot wait to what goes around comes around hit the Church of Scientology. Yeah, they're hitting me with the electronic attack shit to make me have these cough attacks.
And all they remember as they come out is hurt, hurt, hurt.
Wow.
Almost every one of these processes, unless you happen to be a celebrity, is extremely painful. If you are doing the wrong thing, just like a child, you are subjected to punishment.
You see? Just like a child, you're suggested to punishment. But after this video, I'm going to go, when I'm done with doing him, I'm going to go to this girl that left Scientology. And she will tell you about that too. And she'll tell you about handlers.
Many of these things we talked about, or you talked about today, are very much like punishment of a bad child. Except it goes so much further. But here, when the mind begins to fail,
Another cough attack.
and is entirely held up by the process and by the orders of an organization like this, if something goes wrong within that system, that is the biological self, which cannot always be kept completely programmed, or in the system itself, which has its own glitches. The individual may be suddenly put out on a ledge, as it were, with nothing to hold on. The mind emptied of any natural flow of consciousness.
Well, the mind is empty. Wow. So Scientologists are really under mind control. This under mind control, the brain cells are empty. The mind is empty. And that's how come the handler can fill it with whatever the fuck they want to.
Of memories of the past, of an adequate control of the English language, yes, they almost never seem to be able to put a document together that is in the English language. And these individuals either must go mad, or in several cases we've heard about, probably many of the cases that have been
Said then they go mad. And that's what Scientology does. They do more to just empty your brain out. When you leave, they'll just make sure you go mad. They will drive your ass crazy.
lost, suicide. Fortunately for a lot of people who have come out by themselves, that after a while, as with the other cults, their minds will reassemble themselves over a period of time. At least a year is necessary. First year or so may be one of great pain, much anxiety for all of the rest of the family, and it gets even worse when they realize how much of the world they have lost and how much of a chance for a happy life they have.
To cough like this because this is on the internet. It has 1,626 goddamn views, 29 likes, and 1 dislike.
Left behind. Thank you. Thank you. Is the knee meter similar in controlling your emotions to a biofeedback machine? Yes, it is. And it's a lie detector in effect.
Yes.
One of the great achievements of the Church of Scientology is that it seems to be able
Mm.
My reservations about the worth of that, but that's essentially what it is. It short circuits the certain kinds of mental processes
Hmm.
if it's used by a very trained person. That is, if they can appear to be a little magical about their understanding of what's going on in the person who is being audited, they get that person's attention more and more focused. It's very simple to do without the EQ, as a matter of fact. But almost all of us know that in hypnotism, the old-fashioned mesmerists used to do this kind of thing with some
He calls it hypnotism.
kind of device.
Some kind of device.
And this is really what the meter is all about.
If they that are so committed, so hooked, can somehow read a newspaper,
No, this nigga eyes look weird.
you think they'd have enough to be questioned their
Damn. The fuck?
lifestyle and lifestyle?
I somehow think that the threat of the cultic version and the kind of dreadful things that happen after are not as likely to lure kids in as, for instance, drugs, because they believe that they can handle drugs over a shorter period of time. However, the drugs are not being handled by quite such clever people as cults. And the cults also have the friendship of the Civil Liberties Union and some of the leaders in the major denominations.
Did you hear that?
Clever people as cults. And the cults also have the friendship of the Civil Liberties Union.
The friendship of the Civil Liberties Union? Liberties Union? Liberties, that's really Liber, and that's dealing with Aleister Crowley.
And some of the leaders in the major denominations to sort of
Major denominations. I told you, preachers and everyone was coming there to Scientology. They're all fucking involved.
stand behind and stand aside of it, saying this is also legitimate religion, so go ahead and try it. In that sense, I can't answer your question really yes or no.
If I may just interject 1 minute. The city received a letter from the branch. It was the National Committee Against Repressive Legislation, which was sent to Mrs. Shoemaker, and it opposed these hearings. There's at least one name, perhaps two names, but definitely one name of an individual attorney on the list of that National Committee Against Repressive Legislation who defended Mary Sue Hubbard and other defendants in the Washington criminal case. And upon various items of information that we have received, the legal fees in connection with that defense were in the range of $4 to $6 million.
No, it took $4 to $6 million. They still went to jail. But the lawyers didn't get paid in cash. The lawyers, they got paid to be able to deal with the sessions. You know, they don't have to pay for that. No, why did this Hubbard chick go to jail? Because Ron was tired of her. If Ron did not want her to go to jail, she would never have gone to jail. But he was tired of her. It's the same way, like my son Adonai. Now he's doing 5 years in prison. Why? Because the girl he's with was his perp. She's tired of him. She wants to be with her real guy for a while without him hanging out. And that's how they do you. So although you are in Scientology and you're put under mind control, they're targeting you worse than they target me. You just have things, material things, but I have my mind. You and Scientologists, you don't. So all Scientologists, all of you, are under mind control.
In the wrong business. Very well believed. All right, I know we're getting late, but what suggestions do you give us? What should we do? What can we do?
Now they're going to ask, what should we do? What can we do? Nigga, you're part of the goddamn, whatever the fuck this damn board is. Why are you asking him what to do? You know what to fucking do. Shut that shit down. You know what to do.
As elected representatives of a fair-sized city,
Elected representatives. Of course, elected by Scientology.
has much more, frankly, money than we have. That's right. I did not mention at the very beginning that I am facing two nuisances.
Oh yeah, and the guy did say, what can they do because Scientology has way more money than they do. Actually, Scientologist is paying them too. Scientology has enough money to buy the well. Why buy the well when you can buy the people? It's even better.
Suits for conspiracy, and they are nuisance suits, and indeed nuisance suits will be part of the future. It's up to us to rally our allies, the people who believe in the open society, who can smell tyranny when they hear about it. It's about time in this particular period that we admit that we're, as a country, in a lot of trouble. And countries in a lot of trouble have always had business with cults all through history.
Wow.
But now it's time to stand up and say that this is important.
Now it's time to stand up. That was in 1982. It's time to stand up. People still sat down. They didn't do shit. They're bigger and stronger than ever.
Groups do not like to deal with the truth about them.
Damn, I should have let that one go on. Wow.
They know what they're doing, but they know that from another point of view, what they're doing is impermissible. What we can ask of them in meetings like this, when they have their time to speak to the issue, instead of attacking the individuals, which they will do, they'll attack the individuals, and so that they can compete in the marketplace of ideas and beliefs, and we'll let them compete all they wish, but we must not forget that we're talking about their behavior, which is essentially terrorist.
Their behavior is like a terrorist. You said terror. Their behavior is like terror.
Yes, very well put. What you're saying is that do not attack individuals, but compete in the marketplace for ideas.
He said do not attack individuals. He didn't say do not target. He said do not attack.
And I think that's just very well put. I appreciate it. Commissioners, do you have any questions? I know it's getting late. And
how would you guide us? This commission is very concerned about the difference between church and state and secular and religious interests. How would you guide us on, you mentioned behavior.
He looks like
How would
Scientology.
you give advice to this commission on how to proceed?
I face that right now.
He just told you.
In law, in this country, the behavior of religious organizations is not somehow guarded by the First Amendment. There's a lot of nonsense about that. This whole country is not set up in order that religion can do whatever they want it to do. We're really quite frightened of the word religion. On the contrary, the First Amendment has two sides to protect us from religious zealotry and fanaticism as much as the other way around. And how many
To protect
of our
us.
first immigrants were running away not from government, but from religions.
Okay, I won't get into that, but they were running away from this shit. But shit, they brought their asses over here. Now they're doing it here. And all pink people, it's kind of hard to get through their thick skull that this is not their land. This land belongs to the melanated man. So for this shit talker out.